I've got to ask, is the phone charged?
The phone is charged. The phone is charged. No worries. There's not going to be any interruptions.
Do you know that's the actual first time that's ever happened? Do you know, I mean, some people like getting updates and stuff like that, but I've never actually had a phone die on me.
No. Well, it won't happen today. It's a first for it. There's a first for everything.
Absolutely, and stuff like that. But of course, mate, welcome back to the show. How's the week been for yourself?
Thanks. I mean, not too bad. Just been keeping busy, and now
Yes,
got the weekend ahead. So, yep,
what you got planned at the weekend?
just day job.
We call it the
That's
shoot
it.
job.
Yeah, well, shoot job. That's the one. Shoot job.
Yeah, absolutely, and stuff like that. So, when's your next wrestling show? When you're actually back in the ring?
So, as it's planned just now, is the 12th of September, which is
Nice.
at the it's called Venue, and it's in Paisley, and that's for Valor Wrestling.
Okay, awesome and stuff like that. Yeah, but last time you obviously talked a little bit about Valor and stuff like that. I mean,
Yep.
For people listening, give a little insight as to what Valor's like.
So, Valor is almost like I'd said in the last one, it's almost like a Scottish version of the original ECW. You know what I mean? There's a lot more adult fans than there is kids, but if you like a bit of diversity, you know what I mean? Like, let me just give you a little idea of the type of wrestlers and gimmicks, characters that we've got there. So first off, we've got a faction known as God's Country. God's Country consists of Tim Strange, Frank of the Cross, Stone Malone. I believe there's one more, and I apologise for forgetting. So yeah, I think that's it. Just the three of them. And so obviously God's Country, it's like well, you can imagine they're a bit. God's Country is obviously everyone thinks it's America, obviously. I don't know why I'm saying obviously so many. I just realised that I said obviously like 5 times in a row. Anyway, like God's Country is like a cowboy faction. You've got your Big Tim Strange, who's a absolute fucking unit of a human being.
Absolutely.
Stone Malone, who's a hard hitting, hard working. He's inevitable as Stone Malone. And you've got Frank of the Cross, who he's almost like the minister. You know what I mean? He's the one that comes out with the wee minister's collar and the Bible, and he's preaching to everybody. And so that's your God's Country. And we've got another faction, goes by Eastern Bloc. Now, Eastern Bloc's got 4 or 5 members. I believe you've got Yanislav, who's a fantastic worker. He's from the Czech Republic. We've got Crowbar, who is he's Polish descent. You've got what's his name? I can't even remember what he wrestles as. That's terrible. I'm sure it's like it's Patrick something. He's also Polish as well. You've got a guy from Bosnia who's in there called Topalovic. He currently resides in Norway. And they're almost like obviously the clue in the name Eastern Bloc. They are representing Eastern European. You know what I mean? They're like your we'll put it as like a modern day version of Sergeant Slaughter, General Adnan, and Colonel Mustafa. You know what I mean? They're all about the Eastern European side, and the crowd hate them. It's just they're great at doing their job. They're fantastic. And then you've got your faction, the New Age Clique, which the New Age Clique was founded many years ago by BT Gunn and Chris Renfrew, and now NAK's made a return, and it consists of Chris Renfrew, Sammy Sparks, Fulton King, and myself, Iron Drew. So we are the NAK 2.0, if you want to call it that. And for anybody that knows anything about NAK, I don't really need to say much. But for those that don't, NAK is like the pain in the arse. They're like the guys who just they're always causing mischief. But when they cause mischief, they cause absolute havoc as well. They're a force to be reckoned with. And they're currently at war with the whole of Valor roster. So, like, with that, obviously, the reason why I'm giving you the factions is you can imagine how many multi-man matches we've got. You know what I mean? You could have there'll be a 6-man tag. You could have a fatal 4-way death match. Do you know what I mean? Valor's very unpredictable, and it's a niche because it's delivering a product that, like I says, adults and children can enjoy. So the majority of the shows are over 14s. We've sold out, I think it's 8 shows since Valor's started, which is, I think that's pretty impressive. So, but aye, if you've not seen anything, you can look it up on YouTube. This is Valor. I think we're on episode 16, I believe, 16 or 17. And you can obviously then follow the different factions and the different storylines and see what's happening there.
Absolutely. So there's 2 names you mentioned there, which obviously I want to get your thoughts on behind the scenes. One is obviously Stone Malone. He's been on the show and stuff like that. What's he like behind the scenes?
Stone's a great guy. He's very chilled and laid back. He's always smiling. He's got this big contagious smile. You look over and Stone's just sitting there with a smile. You just can't help but smile back. You know what I mean? He's a great guy. He's keen to learn. He's one of the ones. He's one of the good boys. Where, like, when I say good boys, he's like, he knows when to speak. He knows when to listen. Do you know what I mean? He keeps his ears open and his mouth shut. He's a good Stone's one to watch. 100%, definitely one to watch.
Is he one of those that's always willing to learn?
Always, always. You know what I mean? He'll come to you for advice. You give him advice. Like I can give you many examples where he's came to me and asked me for a bit of advice, and I'll go watch his match, and he'll do exactly. He'll at least attempt to try and change whatever it was that he was worried about, or you know what I mean. But he's very very keen to learn, very keen, and that's why I also say he's one to watch because he's like a sponge. He takes it all in.
100%. Now, the other one I want to talk about, and I've heard his name mentioned many times, is Chris Renfrew. What's he like?
Yeah, unpredictable. Literally, to me, he's almost like he's like a big brother backstage. You know what I mean? Like, he made a comeback after 5 years. I believe it was 5 years. It might have actually been longer. I apologise if I've got that wrong. But he's always like Chris. Chris Renfrew is a walking advert for ADHD. I absolutely love being in his presence. He's just like he's so full of fun and banter, and like the Chris Renfrew that we get now isn't the same Chris Renfrew that everybody else used to know. You know what I mean? But he's just one of the ones where he's never sitting still. He's always up and he's always pacing back and forth, and he's coming up with ideas and he's coming up with different references, and he's 100 miles an hour. But I wouldn't change him. I wouldn't change him for the world.
Sounds like he's just like constantly. Did he ever get like chill out, or is he always on the go?
Always on the go. He's non-stop, absolute non-stop. But again, like he's his mind for wrestling is like just beyond belief. You know what I mean? Like we'll go as far as saying that he had a heavy say in ICW's booking a few years back. So the stuff that the man, the knowledge and just the ideas and like the the psychology that he has behind it, like just in the sense of psychology, he's one to listen to. Definitely, he's been about for 21, 22 years. He's full of knowledge. Do you know what I mean? You could easily say that he's probably forgot more than most know.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you mentioned knowledge there and stuff like that. Being in wrestling as long as you have, what's it like for you personally when you're getting people up and coming asking you for advice?
It's it's a bit surreal because I don't see myself as like anything special. I don't see myself as like a veteran or anything like that. Um, Obviously, you make the jokes backstage. Oh, I'm a veteran. You know what I mean? I pull out the veteran card every so often, but that's just for shits and giggles. So like when I get young guys coming up and asking me to like watch their matches and give them feedback, it just for me it's I feel as if I'm giving back to what the generation before me gave, or you know what I mean. So I I do find it very like when somebody comes up and asks for advice, I'm kind of like every time I'm like, wow, damn, of course, I'll watch a match or I'll try and help them when I can. You know what I mean? Like I've learned so many different things from so many different people for all different diversities in wrestling. Um, but it's I like to try and pass down any knowledge or try and give advice. You know what I mean? It's just always good to give what you were given.
Absolutely. And when you're watching matches back and stuff like that, what things obviously are you looking for in particular?
So, like, if I'm watching my own matches back, like, I'm always looking to try and see how I could make things better. How I could, like, I'd watch something and say, oh, maybe I can change it by doing this. Or I could be watching, like, a certain bit in the match and I'll go, I took too long there. I could have sped it up a little bit, or that bump could have been better, or just stuff. I'm always trying to look to better, like, my in ring ability, but at the same time, always want to make sure I always try and look at the fans' reactions to when I'm doing certain things. You know what I mean? Like it's to me, it's almost like a necessity that you need to entertain the fans because the fans are at the end of the day. If there's no fans, there's no wrestling, there's no show, there's no wrestlers. So I always watch how the fans are interacting when I do certain things, whether I'm a heel or a face. You know what I mean? If I do something as a heel and they don't react, right, okay, don't do that again. Maybe try and do something else. Or if I'm a face and you do something, they don't react, right, okay, that's not flashy enough, or that's no entertaining. You know what I mean? And it's the same if younger wrestlers ask me for advice or to ask to watch their matches. I'll just make like a few pinpoints on where they could change, like again, speed up, slow down, just that type of thing, just to try and give them the advice. You know what I mean? And the advice could stem from how to engage a crowd or how to take your time so that you're not getting gassed up in the ring. Just simple things like that. Of
It's like we said last time, it's taking them obviously on a journey, working that card and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
course.
So I want to ask about the name Iron Drew, and I've got a feeling I know how this name come about, but do tell me.
So everybody automatically just assumes it's my favourite drink and I don't have play on name. But Iron Drew wasn't even my idea. This stemmed from a sheer accident. So when I first started wrestling, I went under the name as Max Mayhem. And I was quite a naive young trainee. I let my mouth sometimes get me into trouble. Um, so eventually, growing up, I wanted to try and like build bridges. And one of the things I thought that I could do was change my name because everybody associated Max Mayhem to this naive little idiot that nobody likes, and he's just an opinionated little fucker and whatever. So the first thing I done was I wanted to change my name, but I didn't know what I was going to change my name to. Um, I would say, I think it was January 2012, where my mum came up with the idea of I should just go by my real name, Drew Marshall. Well, my real name, my full name's Andrew Marshall, but everybody knows me as Drew. Nobody knows me as Andrew. And I thought, right, I'm not sure. But my dad had passed away like 2 months prior that, and I thought, do you know what? I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna just call myself Drew Marshall, and I'm gonna try and have to build a character, build a gimmick, build an image all around that. So then I decided one day I was like, my favourite colour is red. So I wanted red and black gear. So I went and got red and black gear and I got red boots. And I was just going with the Drew Marshall thing. But I could never there was no character, there was no gimmick, there was nothing. I just looked like a generic creator wrestler on WWE 2K12. You know what I mean? It just looked generic as hell. When I was wrestling for WAW, we had a matinee show in the afternoon before the evening show. And in the evening show was the Royal Rumble. So it was their version of the Royal Rumble. And they done an academy battle royal. And the winner, this is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. The winner gets the last spot in the Rumble, and the last spot is number 1. So I'm like, okay. So in the Rumble, I was told I was going over. So we're in the Rumble, and it was me and Kid Kendall in the final 2. And as he's working the heat from the distance, I thought I heard Iron Brew, just the standard Iron Brew drink, the chanting the drink name, and I'm thinking, like, my instant thought was shit. So the crowd know who's actually under, because Kid Kendall wore a mask, but everybody knew who it was under the mask. So I'm thinking they're chanting Iron Brew as an insult, as a slagging to me. And then the next thing, it started as 2 people, and then it got louder and got louder and got louder. And I'm thinking, they're going to boo me when I fucking throw this cunt over the top rope. They're going to boo the life out of me. This is going to be the drizzling shits. I'm going to be on Botchamania. So won the Rumble, got a cheer, which was confusing as fuck. Go backstage after the evening show's on. I'm in the Rumble. The show's done, and we're packing up the merchandise. And the 2 girls from merchandise came over and says, "Did you hear what we were chanting for you?" I was like, "What were you chanting?" "Oh, we're chanting Iron Drew." And I was like, not I. Like, but obviously with it, like with the dialect difference, I thought they said Iron Brew. I still thought they said Iron Brew. So I've instantly reacted with, "Oh, you fuckers. You know what I mean? I'm supposed to be the good guy and you're chanting Iron Brew." And they've went, "No, we weren't chanting Iron Brew, we were chanting Iron Drew, because we were saying how you're always drinking Iron Brew, your name's Drew, so we just thought Iron Drew." And the minute the 2 girls said that, light bulb went off. And I'm going, why on earth did I never think of that? Iron Drew is such a great fucking name. So before I got any Iron Drew stuff made or called myself Iron Drew, I contacted Bars and I asked them for a sponsorship and told them the idea that I want to call myself Iron Drew. It also will be a play on that, the play on the drink. I'm Scottish, just that type of thing. And then they sent me an email back, basically saying that they don't do solo athlete sponsorships. If I was part of a sports group, though, they would give me a sponsor for that. But at the time, now I was at the point where I was an independent wrestler. I wasn't like based anywhere specific. So, but then in the email, before it ended, they said that they gave me full endorsement to use the colours, the font, and the name. So right away, I went and got gear made, got new boots, new singlet, and I was just toying with the idea: when do I start? When do I start? When do I be Iron Drew? Like, I want to do like some sort of transaction thing. And Iron Drew was born on June 3rd, 2019, at Carrow Road, which is Norwich City Football Ground, when I was in the Dynamite Kid Battle Royal. So that's when Iron Drew was born, and ever since it's just picked off. It's just I don't know if it's because of the bright colours. I don't know if it's the play on the name, but Iron Drew has just picked up and took off, and it's just one of them things where like I'm more recognised, even like when I'm walking about like at work and stuff, like my colleagues, they won't refer to me as Drew, it'll be Iron Drew. It's just everybody associates me with Iron Drew now. So I think that's that was I don't know how I never thought of that, but that was Iron Drew was created with a pure accent. So with that being said, and I always give them credit, I want to thank Iona Cameron and Kathleen Smith for the idea.
It's brilliant. Do people still rib you? Do they actually say Iron Brew just to wind you up?
Sometimes I get called the Iron Brew man, the Iron Brew guy, or Iron Brew Drew, things like that. But the way I see it is that's free advertisement for me. I don't I don't you shouldn't get I shouldn't get annoyed, and I don't get annoyed. So it's one of them ones where I'm like it's awesome. You know, like I'm grateful for that idea being brought forward, and now it's like I say, it's literally created my career.
It's just one of those things, isn't it, where as soon as you get that idea, it just takes off. And like I said, it's part of you now as well.
Of course, it is.
Awesome. I actually love that, Jim, because I saw it many times on that. I wonder what the backstory is to this, but that's really fascinating. I love it.
So like it's crazy. Like even at shows, like especially up here in Scotland, like fans will like bring bottles of Iron Brew just to give it to me. And I'm like, do you want me to sign this? Like, no, it's for you. You know what I mean? There'll be times where I'm going backstage and I've got like 4 or 5 bottles of Iron Brew, and I'm like, I'm not, like, wow, where'd this come from? Do you know what I mean? Like that's just, I love it. Absolutely love it.
I love it. It's brilliant and stuff like that. So, sticking with obviously wrestling and stuff like that, when you go out and perform, I might have asked you this question last time, but how do you get yourself like in the zone?
So beforehand, before you go through the curtain, like I'm always a nervous wreck. You know what I mean? Um, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I strongly believe if you lose your nerves, then you've lost your passion for whatever it is you're doing. You know what I mean? Then you get overconfident and stuff. So for me to get in the zone, it's hard, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Um, Try and stay focused. Try and not overthink, because I'm an overthinker. So trying to obviously just stay composed in general is a challenge. But I try not overthink. Try and keep focused on the task at hand. Um, Constantly go over the match in my head. Um, and just try and be relaxed. It's one of these ones. It's hard to answer that one. Do you know what I mean? Like I understand some people listen to music, other people do meditation, things like that. I just I don't know. Maybe I I'm not a religious man. I don't really believe in any gods or anything like that. But I'm always thankful for where I am, and always try and just remember that I'm here not for me. I'm here for the fans. I'm here to do a job for the promoter. I'm here to make memories and to make people talk.
100%.
So I try not to think about any of the over stressful things. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So
So
these
yeah.
next questions obviously are from Wrestle Wellbeing. I just want to point out for people listening, this obviously is a lot about mental health and stuff like that. So if you are struggling and stuff like that, we say this every time, reach out. We'll put all links in the description and stuff like that. So are you ready for these questions?
Right, here we go.
Here we go. So the first one was there any particular moments or periods in your career where your mental health struggles felt particularly overwhelming?
Several times. Several times. Um like not so much in the beginning. I would probably go and say maybe from 2017, and from there to now, I've had a few times where my mental health has felt that it took a massive impact. I feel like it was taking a dip. Um, I'm very open about my mental health. I do suffer just like every other person. Um, I believe wrestling and working out is my calling. I wouldn't call it my calling. Wrestling's my calling. Not so much working out, but working out occupies my mind. And um, like I'll also state as well, if anybody suffering from mental health, it's okay not to be okay. You know what I mean? And I mean that it's yeah. Sometimes wrestling's been what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying hard here not to get upset. Wrestling's been the savior, 100%. But it's also sometimes it's been a demon. But thankfully, I spoke to people, reached out to other people, uh, didn't didn't get professional help. I'm not saying professional help doesn't help. Thankfully, um, I was able to take on the things I was being told, and I've bettered my life 100% just from advice from what other people have taught me, and like I'm just grateful for the people that's in my life. I'm grateful for the opportunities I've had in my life, and especially when it comes to wrestling as well. Losing my father, that was hard. I lost my father to suicide. Um, that was in 2011, and I'm still to this day still struggle to deal with it. It's a hard process. They say time's a healer. I say that saying's bullshit. But then you just look, you try and like, you try and put a smile on, even though you're hurting deep inside. But I know people say the hardest thing is to start speaking. Sorry, the easiest thing is to speak to someone, but the hardest thing is to start that conversation. So I've been there. I've gave mental. People have came to me, and I'll give them advice. You know what I mean? On like just scenarios that I've had in my life. But obviously, just like anybody else in any career, you're going to have your mental health dips where you feel that, is this worth doing this? Am I better off looking after myself? You know what I mean? There's been times like I even go last year, my mental health was horrible, and I was down in Norwich, wrestling for the Night Family, and I made a decision to end the tour early because my mental health was absolutely horrible, and I could see that it was affecting everybody around me. You know what I mean? Like if I walked into a room, the room just turned grey, if you want to say that. So I made the decision to come home to maybe get professional help. Um, I kind of left WAW in a not a sticky situation. I left them in a slump. Um, I had let them down, and I'd lost all contact with them. Because I let them down, things went south, and we didn't speak for almost a year. Thankfully now that I'm back into a more mental state, I managed to get the bridges built, and I went down there in July. Sorry, no, June. I went down there in the end of June and built all the bridges back up, and managed to make my return at WEW as well, which again was a massive positive boost in my mental health. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm really speechless with that. Is it Is it more common in wrestling than fans realize? Mental health.
100%, 100%. Like, and I don't want to speak on behalf of anybody else, so I'll speak on behalf of myself. But like, there's times where, like, if you're at a Valor show and you see the way, like, the way I conduct myself in the character, I'm quite a cheeky bastard. I've always got an answer for everything. Yeah, I'm very comical. Do you know what I mean? Like, but seeing that 10 minutes or 10, 15, 20 minutes that I'm in that ring, my mental health doesn't exist. There's no mental health. There's no depression. There's no negativity because I'm no Andrew Marshall. I'm Iron Drew. I'm there to interact with these people. Do you know what I mean? Um, and that's why I say wrestling's my savior. You know what I mean? There's been many a times I've been like depressed and down, struggled to even speak to my opponent backstage to plan any stuff for the match. Do you know what I mean? Or just like being very snappy towards people, or being just like taking my depression out on other people. You know what I mean? Thankfully, I've got the type of people I've got around me will say, like, they'll pull me aside and say, look, listen, the way you've said this, the way you've done that, that was wrong. And I'll be like, no, I agree. You know what I mean? I'll be the first person to apologise and put my hands up and say, yep, that was me. I apologise. You know what I mean? But like, I don't think the fans. I think it's the same for the fans as well. You know what I mean? I'm still a fan. You're still a fan.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But the thing is when you're backstage, you don't know who's going through what in their personal lives. Do you know what I mean? Like, I could write a book on the stuff that's happened in my personal life, but you try and remember yourself. Wrestling's a vice. You've got these people who you can go and they're very like-minded. They're into the same stuff as you, and that's wrestling. You can go there, talk about wrestling. You take your mind off the outside world. You take your mind off take your mind off reality because you're in this, shall we call it, a multiverse, because you're no longer the human being. You're the wrestler, and everything else around you is just non-existent. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So,
Wow.
but
Yeah. So
I would
I'm
believe it.
still stumped. Sorry for. I never really get people when they're so open like that, so I'm really stumped. But please continue.
No, but no, it's just like it's horrible when you hear things. Um, like Scotland lost probably its best ever produced talent back in 2019 to suicide, and that was Lionheart. Um, that was a massive hit on Scottish wrestling. It was a massive hit on everybody else as well. Like when I say wrestling, I mean wrestling as a whole, but just as well as the personal level. That was a big hit. You know what I mean? And you don't know what's going through someone's head. You never know. You know what I mean? You don't know when that'll be the last time you see somebody. So you always try and try and live your best life. I know it's easier said than done, 100% easier said than done. But like again, going back to me being like no religious or anything like that, but I believe we're here for a purpose. Genuinely believe we're here for a purpose. Do you know what I mean? And like look me, even just with my personal experience of losing my father, like we were left with no answers. And we don't know why. Like when we got the post mortem back, like he was riddled from head to toe with prostate cancer, spread throughout his entire body. But we still like we we don't know if he went to go and get help, would he still be here, or would his time just have been prolonged a little bit? We don't know. And it's the same. Like I've lost friends to suicide. I've lost other family members to suicide. Do you know what I mean? So like sometimes life's a bitch, but again, it's what you make of it. And just from my own personal experiences, I'm trying to do my best to fix things. And right now, in my personal life, I can honestly say, right now, everything's on the up. There's no negativity. I'm not. right now. I'm not suffering from depression. I've managed to, like, things in my life are very positive right now. So that again is it's a bonus, because again, tomorrow's a new day. You don't know if you're going to wake up and that dark wolf is creeping at your door again.
100%.
So I'm just very grateful right now at this moment in time that my life's getting positive.
Absolutely. So you kind of obviously answered all the questions in one, but the final one was, what message would you give to other wrestlers or anyone who might be struggling with their mental health, but in silence?
Speak, talk to us, don't hold in. Trust me, speak. It helps. It really does help when you speak to somebody. Do you know what? It doesn't matter if you don't like that person. Uh, every human being has a heart. So I find if you can soul in anybody, you've got more of a chance of bettering yourself. Because again, I'm not like this. Again, this is my opinion on me. I had to better my life. I had to better my mind frame. So I had to make changes in my life. You know, like I was one of these ones where I used to go to the gym twice a week, and I thought that was enough. You know what I mean? I didn't realize that exercise is absolutely fantastic for your mental health. That honestly, I can't stress enough. Like, I go to the gym between 5 to 6 days a week, and I'm like, if I don't, I get antsy if I don't go to the gym. I get pissed off. I get up and I want to do stuff. You know what I mean? So I've got things in the house that I can just use for body weight. You know what I mean? But if anybody's suffering, honest, please don't suffer. Don't suffer in silence, and just know that, like, again, one of the reasons why I would never speak out was I was always thinking that people would think I'm looking for attention. That's not the case. That again, if that's how you feel, then you need to change that mentality. You know what I mean? You are. And I don't know who's watching this. I don't know if this is going to, if anybody will watch this. But if you're watching this, you are important in this world. You're here. You have a family. You make your life what you can. You only get one life, and make the best you can. You know what I mean? I don't know what else to say. But you are loved. You have a family. You have loved ones. Just think about, like, if you're thinking of these negative thoughts, if you're thinking about suicide, just think about how they're going to feel once you go. You're not making nothing better. Things will just get harder for everybody. You're basically just, it's almost like you're passing on the pain, and nobody wants to do that. So speak out. Doesn't matter who you talk to. You know what I mean? Just pour your heart out. 'Cause that's exactly what I do. I used to fight it and hold it in. I used to hold a lot of anger, and now I can just speak.
100%. Drew, thank you so much, obviously, being open and stuff like that.
No, mate,
Before we go
always.
into the next, before we go into the next section, I want to point out, obviously, there is a podcast out there which is a good friend of mine called Wrestle Wellbeing. He's obviously got that actual space where people want to speak about mental health and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? I'll put all links in the description of this video. So for people like who want to speak out, like obviously Drew's done today, go check him out. Joe Wrestle Wellbeing. He's a good friend of mine, and do you know what? He'll give you that platform, Joe, to do exactly what you've done today, Drew.
Yep. And again, just from having this conversation, I feel like I've got a weight lifted off my shoulders. That's it. You know what I mean? Just how good it feels just to get that out. It's no longer sitting. And again, like, this is me answering my question. These aren't things that are sitting on my shoulders right now, but I just feel uplifted. You know what I mean? And that's a positive feeling that I'm pretty sure everybody wants.
Absolutely, and stuff like that. Well said and stuff like that. So, a few little more questions, mate, as we begin to wind down. You've done so much, obviously, in your career now, man. You know what I mean? Like, correct me from it, was it 20 odd years? I think you said you're wrestling.
It'll be 20 years in November from my first training session.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, so 20 years. I mean, what's next, man? What do you want to obviously achieve now?
Well, um, I want to try and go further afield. Um, I want to see if I've got what it takes to be in the big leagues. I'm not saying that I do. By all means, nobody knows. You know what I mean? But I am currently probably I'm looking into seeing if I can get maybe over to America, like maybe try and get a few bookings there, maybe make a little name for myself. I want to expand now. I want to go, like I say, further afield. Like if you asked me 6 months ago, what's your goal in wrestling? What's your dream? And I would say to you, my dream is to be a household name. You know what I mean? Like we can sit here and say, I can mention people like Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks. Big Daddy died before I was even born, but I know who Big Daddy is. Giant Haystacks, you know what I mean? Passed away in like 96, 97, but I know who he is. And they're British household names, Kendo Nagasaki, all these people. I wanted like the children who come to see me at the wrestling shows, I wanted them to be telling their children or their grandchildren. I remember when I was a wee laddie or I was a wee lass and used to watch this wrestler called Iron Drew Marshall. That's what I want. That's what I wanted. You know what I mean? That's not the dream. That's the goal. Now the dream is worldwide. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to take over America. I'm going to conquer America because that's all cliche bullshit that everybody tries to say. Whereas I just say it as it is. I want to see if I can make it in America, and that doesn't necessarily mean with the big leagues, with WWE or All Elite Wrestling or anything like that. I just want to see what I can do. I want to see if I have something to offer. I mean, not if America's got something to offer me. I want to see if I've got something to bring to the plate for America or Mexico or Japan or something like that. I want to. That's where I deem to be now.
Awesome. What about your top three opponents? It could be anywhere.
Top three opponents. I've actually never been asked that. So I'm not kissing arse before anybody who watches this says I'm kissing arse. No particular order. This isn't like 1, 2, 3, right? I'm just going to give you three names. Rowdy Ricky Knight, Zach Knight or Zach Zodiac,
Yeah.
and Roy Knight, or Zebra Kid, as he was known. That would be my three favourite opponents.
I'd like to see that Zach Zodiac one's a really good show because I think that'd be an interesting matchup.
Yes, I can try and see if I can find a link and I can get you to watch that. In fact, Zach and I have wrestled many a times. Fuck me, that boy can go. Unfortunately, he's now semi-retired, but Zach is just beyond his time and always will be. And the reason why I picked they three, it's not nothing to do with the personal relationship or anything like that, or to kiss ass, anything, nothing like that. Ricky Knight, Zach Knight, Zach Zodiac, or Roy Knight, they they helped bring out the best in me when we were doing the holiday camps. We were doing like Haven, no, I've got to say Haven. We never done Haven. Like Pontins, Park Deans. We done the odd Havens for Brian Dixon. So they educated me so much on how to learn. So like Ricky Knight, Ricky Knight Senior, and Zach, they taught me how. I'm sure I said in the last week how to engage a crowd, how to change the tempo of the match. They also taught me like how to like just less is more. I've always heard that expression in wrestling: less is more, less is more, less is more. But they taught me that how to fucking put that into play in a match. Less is more. How to conduct that better. Um, Roy Roy brought out the best in me in front of like we'll call it a house show in front of a paying audience. Roy pushed me to the limits completely. So did Zach. Both of them, like, so that's why I would pick them three, just solely because of the stuff that they've taught me.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to obviously let you promote all your stuff now. All these are the images. So I'm going to show you the image and you get the chance to promote it, my friend. So let me just load this one up. So
No worries.
this is the first one.
Ha! So 13th, or I keep saying the 12th, it's the 13th of September. And this is for Valor Wrestling. And as you can see, it's myself versus BT Gunn for the UEWA European Heavyweight Championship. Tickets are still available right now. You can the venue is called Venue St Paisley. You can get your tickets from Eventbrite. The card is stacked. I'm sure so far there's 7 matches that's been announced. And I strongly believe that I'm walking away with that UEWA European Heavyweight title.
You've heard it here first, right? Let's load the next one up for you when I can find it.
Yep.
This is the next one.
So that is the one in the Leaf. So I'm not sure what my match is for this, but this is W3L. So they do like the more northern of Scotland, not the northern of the north of Scotland. Fucking speak, you read. Right. So W3L is a family friendly show. As you can see, you've got a few. You may see a few familiar faces there. You get Chris Renfrew bang in the middle, Tim Strange, Britain's strongest woman, Hera, is the female there with the red hair.
Moxie Malone at the side.
Fantastic shows. You've got Moxie Malone, you've got Logan Smith, you've got Luke King Sharp, who has begrudgingly got my W3L Showdown title. He cheated me out of that. Luke Aldridge, Jackal. So, you know what I mean? Family friendly show, big atmosphere. It's great for everybody.
Wrestling's always wrestling for everybody, I always say.
And you can get your tickets at w3lwrestling.com.
Absolutely. Next one.
All Thriller in Stirling. So again, this is for W3L. Tickets also available, w3l.com. So the match has been announced for this. I am getting my rematch against Luke King Sharp for the W3L Showdown Championship. Now, with this being a Halloween wrestling spectacular, right? We're doing something that's not really been done, I think, in Scottish wrestling. I could be wrong, so I'm not going to sit here and say this is a first. You've done this. We've done this first. But this is almost like a version. If you remember in WWE, they had Taboo Tuesday or Cyber Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
The fans get to vote the stipulation of this match. So if you want to vote, you head over to W3L's Facebook page, and Mike Musso, who is part of the management team, who contacted me and asked what 2 matches would I like to put forward. Because every time Luke King Sharp and I have faced one-on-one in W3L, it's always been on his terms. I whipped his ass in a last man standing match. I whipped his ass in a hardcore match. Playing him at his own game, I've beat him. So now it's time for him to try and get time for me to get a wee bit of something I'm good at. Your match choices is either a 30-minute Ironman match,
Ooh,
or a traditional British rules match. So if you want to vote, you go over to W3L's Facebook page and you let them know what match you want to see.
Absolutely. Now there's one more thing, and I've just seen it, and I'll show you the logo, and you can tell us all about it.
So this is the Luke King Sharp's Dojo of Excellence. So we hold classes at Iron Girders Wrestling Gym in Parkhead, Glasgow. Classes run from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Here you will, each week you're learning something different. Your head coach is Luke King Sharp. I am assistant coach, and recently we've just made Aussie Michaels an assistant coach as well. Like the type of guys that have came through the LKS dojo, you've got Stone Malone, you've got Aussie Michaels, Sammy Sparks, Fulton King, Penelope, Penelope Cruz. You've got Brody Adler's there. You've got Mikey Devine, he's there as well. So, like, if you want to learn different styles or different aspects, just head over to Luke King Sharp's Excellence Dojo of Excellence. give them a message with any questions, and they'll get back in touch as soon as they can.
Absolutely. What we'll do is we'll put all the links to all these shows in the description so people can shoot from this straight to that. How's that?
Perfect.
Awesome. So, is there anything else, mate, you'd like to plug?
No, just support independent wrestling. That's it. Do you know what I mean? Just support your local independent wrestling show. Go along, buy the guy's merch, cheer as loud as you can, boo as loud as you can. Just keep giving us a reason to love this business.
That's an incredible thing to end on. Drew, everyone at interview gets to do the outro for this show, so you can say anything you want, you can promote anything you want. We'll end the stream. Over to you, my friend.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thankfully, the battery didn't die this time. But you've seen the tickets, you've seen the posters, you know where to get the tickets now. You want to come and see Iron Drew, whether you want to see the good guy, you'll clap your hands, happy, cheery, bright colours, or if you want a cunt, just come and see me. Because I can be a cunt, a proper cunt at that. So don't forget, buy your fucking tickets and get it right up here.